It's a Monday, and Philadelphia Eagles now is coming right at you. Coming up on today's show, could DeAndre Hopkins pick the Eagles? An ESPN NFL expert said it would be a wise choice for D-Hop to come to Philly, and I'm going to explain why James Bradberry statistically is one of the best cornerbacks in the National Football League. Before we dive into all of that, though, make sure you give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Chase_Senior. I've heard from so many of you over the last few days sliding in the DMs saying what's up because I don't want you to be shy. I tweet out all of the shows that I do, all of the content, take some clips, put them on social media as well, and I love to chop it up with the Bird Gang, and it makes me happy when you all reach out to say what's up and let me know what you think of the show. At Chase_Senior on both Twitter and Instagram. Look forward to hearing from you. Let's talk some birds. Today's Eagles Now is sponsored by GlassesUSA.com. I've been telling you about my blue light glasses over the last couple of weeks. They've certainly saved my eyes as I use them all the time. Exclusive promo link down in the description of this video. We'll tell you more about GlassesUSA.com coming up here in just a little while. Let's begin here with DeAndre Hopkins. ESPN's Dan Orlovsky was on the Pat McAfee show, and he said, if D-Hop wants to play with an elite quarterback, there are two options right now for him in NFL free agency. The Baltimore Ravens and the Philadelphia Eagles. That's why we're talking about him on today's show. It is certainly interesting. D-Hop released by Arizona after the Cardinals could not find a trade partner. Some teams are wary of paying him big-time dollars. There were the reports in the early going about the Bills and the Chiefs being interested in Hopkins. They could use them on their receiving cores respectively, but they don't want to give him a lot of dough. D-Hop just wrapped up his visit with the Tennessee Titans on Sunday into Monday. He spent several hours with some of the coaches and the players. That could be a decision that comes soon, or could he decide to spurn Tennessee and come up north to go to either Baltimore or Philadelphia? With DeAndre Hopkins, this is really what it comes down to with his looming free agency decision. Does he want to play with the contender and an elite quarterback? Does he want to get paid big-time dollars if that's not the case with the previous point? Or does he just want to get targets and stats? If he wants to get paid and be a number one wide receiver, the Tennessee Titans make a lot of sense. But as Dan Orlovsky pointed out, if he wants to play with an elite quarterback and play with a Super Bowl contender, the Philadelphia Eagles could, in fact, make a lot of sense. And that's the argument that Dan Orlovsky made. If he wants to play with an elite QB in this league, who's also young, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson could provide him with a winning atmosphere, an opportunity to win a Super Bowl, but also elite-level production as well. I'm fascinated to see what happens with DeAndre Hopkins. Now, I will tell you this. Be here with us, because whenever the Eagles make a big move, whenever there's a report, a rumor out there, or a fascinating topic at hand that I can discuss here on the airwaves, that's what we do. Moving and shaking here on Philadelphia Eagles now. Just surpassed 46,000 subscribers last week. Let's continue to grow. As for what Orlovsky had to say specifically, if I was D-Hop and I could choose where I go with realistic teams in the conversation, number one, New England, as long as he thinks that Mac Jones is a good player. And the New England Patriots make a lot of sense for DeAndre Hopkins. They currently lack an elite outside wide receiver. And with D-Hop, he's a good 50-50 jump ball type of wideout. Bill Belichick could do a good job of isolating him, getting him some one-on-one opportunities which play into his strengths. And that's what Bill Belichick does a good job of. More from Orlovsky on the Pat McAfee show. Let's live in the world where he wants to play with an elite-level quarterback. The two teams would be Baltimore or Philadelphia. Him and OBJ hanging out for a whole year. Cleveland is solid, but I still think Philadelphia would be a better situation. I think the decision has to come down to playing with an elite quarterback and playing Super Bowl championship football. And, of course, Philadelphia in a Super Bowl window right now. And with D-Hop throughout his career, he's played for bad organizations. Houston Texans, Arizona Cardinals, with fan bases that, let's be frank, don't really care too much about their football teams as compared to the Bird Gang which always goes out to the desert to take over that stadium. And they were representing in H-Town, F the Astros, by the way. So should the Eagles sign DeAndre Hopkins? Let me know down in the comment section Y for yes or N for no. Coming up next on the show, we're not done talking about D-Hop, why him on the Eagles could make sense or why it couldn't make sense. Also, still to come, why James Bradberry is an elite-level cornerback in the NFL. We're going to talk about that. But first, GlassesUSA.com, a word from them. So I keep telling you about my brand new glasses from GlassesUSA.com. GlassesUSA.com has hooked me up with a new pair of Revel Sidestep blue light glasses to help me in front of my computer screen all day long as I'm scripting shows here at Chat Sports. Using blue light glasses during screen time helps reduce eye strain, decrease headaches, improve your sleep, and increase productivity because we stay on that grind and hustle here at Chat Sports. If you didn't already know, GlassesUSA.com is one of the biggest eyewear retailers in the United States, offering thousands of eyeglasses and sunglasses from great brands such as Ray-Ban, Gucci, Oakley, and many more. And what's best about GlassesUSA.com is that glasses start at only $39, which are up to 70% off retail prices. If you love these frames, there is a crazy exclusive offer waiting for my followers by clicking the links in the description box down below. They've also got a super helpful AR virtual try-on tool to help find you your right frames. Also, shopping online at GlassesUSA.com, a risk-free shopping experience with free shipping and returns and 100% money-back guarantee within 14 days. And you know, we're in the midway part of June. Summer is coming up very quickly. If you want some sunglasses as well, I also have these Revel Slater sunglasses from GlassesUSA.com. Get the exclusive discount only available to Eagles Now viewers by clicking on the links in the comments and description box. It's only available for 24 hours. Once again, thank you, GlassesUSA.com, for making today's show possible. Now, sticking with this D-Hop conversation, a lot of you are asking, does Hopkins even make sense for Philadelphia? He plays primarily on the outside, right? He can't play the slot. Not according to the numbers that I found. Hopkins' snap alignment in 2022, he was out wide a lot because you have to use him to his skill set and to the best of his abilities, right? 282 snaps. That was good for 77% of his total snaps back last year, but he kept playing the slot as well. And he could play in the slot alongside Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. He played in the slot last year for Arizona, 106 snaps, good for about 27% of his snap alignment in 2022. Hopkins, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith, they would be able to work together as a receiving core because DeAndre Hopkins, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, they can play anywhere on the football field. They are not limited to just playing on the outside or just playing on the inside. They have a wide array of routes that they can run as part of their route tree, but also as an offensive coordinator, as an offense, you are always trying to hunt and exploit mismatches against the opposing defense. And that's exactly what you would be able to do with one of the most elite and most feared wide receiver trios in the NFL of A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and DeAndre Hopkins. And if you don't think that D-Hop can still play, go back and look at what he did last year. The dude could still ball. 9 games played because his season cut short and got delayed because of that PED suspension. And Kyler Murray also got hurt, yet he still put up 64 catches for 717 yards and 3 touchdowns. Year before that, 42 grabs, 572, 8 touchdowns. In 2020-2019, my man put up more than 100 catches each year and well over 1,000 yards as a touchdown machine as well. You put his skill set and his production alongside A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, it makes this Eagles wide receiver core one of the scariest in the NFL. And then Quez Watkins and or Olamide Zaccheaus, depending on if you trade them, one of them or not, they're your wide receiver 4 as a speed option. My goodness, Jalen Hurts could be even better and would be even better than he was in 2022 when he finished runner-up to Patrick Mahomes in MVP voting. Surround your quarterback with as many elite players as possible, and if D-Hop wants to take a discount and he wants to come to the Eagles and he's all about that winning boss and he wants to play alongside Jalen Hurts with these wide receivers on your screen, shoot, I'm in, as long as the cost is pretty low. So the Eagles will have a top blank offense in the NFL in 2023. Fill in the blank for me. Rank that Eagles squad coming up because the regular season going to be here before we know it. Can't wait for those watch parties as well. That's why you got to subscribe. Let's round out the show with this. I'm going to explain why James Bradberry was one of the top cornerbacks in the National Football League last year, and it's a great luxury that he returned to the Eagles in NFL free agency. These numbers backed up by Pro Football Focus, which show that Bradberry was number 1 in the NFL in passer rating allowed when targeted last year. Bradberry checking in at number 1 among all cornerbacks in the NFL, followed by Jaycee Horn, Sauce Gardner, Alontae Taylor, and Jaire Alexander. The cornerbacks here to my right, very elite in this league, so Bradberry in elite category. Passer rating allowed defined. What is it? What does it mean? We have it covered as we always do. The stat is the NFL passer rating generated from a player's coverage numbers when targeted. The highest mark of Bradberry's career, 7 years in, came in 2022. So he was a lockdown cornerback, and don't let the Super Bowl fool you when he did struggle against Juju Smith-Schuster in that second half. Did it have to do with Jonathan Gannon and his play calling? Did it have to do with the Eagles' lack of pass rush when they didn't get a sack in that entire game? Yes. Don't let it fool you. Bradberry was a top-tier cornerback last year, and him and Darius Slay, arguably the top cornerback duo in the NFL. Here's what PFF had to say about Bradberry's work a season ago. Bradberry backed up his late signing with the Eagles, posting the second highest coverage grade of his career. Not only that, his 51.8 passer rating allowed, his best mark in his career. Bradberry and Sauce Gardner were tied first with 21 forced incompletions. Bradberry started his career in Carolina, where he had to face the peak performance of Julio Jones, Mike Evans, Michael Thomas in his division. That being said, it makes sense that his grades have improved since moving to the NFC East, and the tape comes to the same conclusion. The Eagles ended up bringing back their veteran duo of Bradberry and Darius Slay, which at one point looked unlikely, but they returned as one of the league's best cornerback tandems. And the numbers certainly indicate that Bradberry was awesome last year. He had 3 interceptions, 17 pass breakups for the second consecutive year, an overall Pro Football Focus grade of 80.2, and a grade of 74.2 checking in there as well. Now, Bradberry's numbers a little bit boosted because he plays opposite of Darius Slay. Of course, it's going to be the case when you play with another really good corner who locks down some of the opposing number 1 wide receivers in the NFL. But he took advantage of his opportunities, and he still locked down some really good players in this league because across the NFL, a lot of teams, at least the elite ones, have multiple options that they can go to. And I do like the prospects of the Eagles being elite once again. Because when you have a good secondary like the Eagles have, especially at cornerback, with Darius Slay, James Bradberry, Avonte Maddox, on top of the fact that you have a really good defensive line that last year generated 70 sacks, if they're getting after the quarterback, and opposing quarterbacks don't have time to throw, survey the field, and pick you apart. Unfortunately, Patrick Mahomes did in that Super Bowl. I think that's more of a byproduct of Andy Reid out-coaching Jonathan Gannon. But when you get a pass rush, what does it allow the back end to do? Take some risks, be a little bit more aggressive. And they don't have to go stride for stride, step for step with these wide receivers for a long period of time because the quarterback doesn't have a long time to throw the actual football, allowing the corners to do their work on that back end. So I've asked you a couple of questions on today's show. We're going to round out with this. I asked you about that Eagles offense. How about the Eagles defense? Better or worse than they were last year? B or W? Let me know. And once again, thank you to GlassesUSA.com for sponsoring today's show. I love my blue light glasses, man. Able to save my eyes, which a lot of you sometimes rip in the comment section by keeping them all crisp. Exclusive promo link down in the description down below, and we'll catch you next time here on the show. Go Birds. Peace.